Thank you very much, and I'm really honored to be here with you and to deliver my speech, my thoughts on this prestigious forum, Kigali Dialogue, which is organized by the brilliant Center for Strategical Things from India, ORF, and also Center for New Economic Diplomacy. I'm here on behalf of Club de Madrid. This is Alliance of the Former Leaders, which means, as I said to my friends here during these 2 days, that means that we are old and experienced people. And we are able to understand better everything what's going on and to make kind of suggestions how to avoid obstacles and the problems in the future. If I'm not looking that old, this is how I'm manipulating with the people. And I'm really experienced, and I was working in the Ministry of Defense in creating new institutions in Serbia after war for civil control of armed forces and intelligence. I was working as a Minister of Telecommunication and trying to bring new technological development in my country, and finally I became a president of my country. I'm very proud for being here during the 25th celebration of this country, Day of Liberation of Rwanda, after horrible events that happened in 1994. I'm specifically underlining that because I'm coming from former Yugoslavia. In that time of the history of mankind, our two countries were mentioned in the worst scenario in the international arena in that time, Yugoslavia and Rwanda. Rwanda had more than 1 million the victims. We had more than 200,000 victims, and I'm not comparing that. Every single case is really horrible. But why I'm saying this? Because of such experience I'm bringing here in this beautiful country, and also trying to share that experience with you, how to live with the horrible memories, how to find solution for yourself, how to find solution for better life, not only for you, but for your opponents, how to find solution for identity issue, for many challenges we are facing with. And I have to say, coming back to the period of the tragedy of our nations, that the world orders that can be existing for many, many decades after the Second World War has been ignoring some of the crucial elements of human existence. For example, issue of identity, which is becoming one of the most sensitive issues nowadays. I perfectly understand that, because when we've been involved in the war in the former Yugoslavia, no one who came from the Western countries was able even to understand the importance of the issue of identity. This is one of the issues that I would like to point out during my speech. Second, I would like to point out the other challenges we are facing with nowadays in the international arena. Things are, as I said yesterday on the panel, things are changing so fast. We are living on the crossroads, and things are totally unpredictable. Whoever is trying to make the good and solid prediction, he's going probably to fail. Why I'm saying this? I'm participating on very different forums with a very intelligent and experienced people. One of that forum was with the former President of the European Commission, former High Representative for Foreign Policy and Security, former presidents of different countries, decision makers of the main countries in the world, and that happened before Brexit and before elections in the United States. And when I was taking into consideration possible Brexit as an outcome of referendum in Great Britain, all of them ignored that by saying this is not possible to happen. After Brexit, we've been facing with new challenges, and also that happened with elections in the United States. When I said this is possible to see Donald Trump to win elections, all of them have said, no, Hillary Clinton is going to be new president of the United States. This is very interesting. I met only 2 people, even in the United States, who have said that Trump is going to win elections before elections happened, which means things are really unpredictable. And how many surprises we are going to be faced with in the next few years, we don't know today. But what we have to understand, there is no anymore in the global order, the world order, with the world order situation in which we'll have one superpower or 2 superpowers. We have China as an inevitable superpower, and in the next 10 years maybe we'll have also India as a superpower. I don't know whether Europe is going to be superpower. This is up to European Union leaders, but they have capacity also to be superpower. But if we are going to have 5 superpowers in the next 10 years in the world, this is very important to understand and to make architecture that is going to be capable to absorb tensions we are going to have with this scenario in international arena. I have to say this because of being a very unpleasant witness that participating in many forums, almost no one is mentioning even European Union as a superpower and India as a possible superpower. I don't know why that is happening. Okay, now the European Union and India are not superpower, but this is not that difficult to predict scenario in which take into account economic capacities and the intellectual capacities, scientific development, impact in digital arena. We can see European Union and India also to be superpower in next 5 or 10 years. We are facing right now with many tensions. We are facing right now with many, many challenges, but I have to mention some of them to be taken into the consideration seriously. Issue of population, which is increase and continuing to increase. In the next few decades, we'll be faced with 10 billion people living on the earth. I was born when it was 2 billion people. From 2 billion to 10 billion, one normal life. In that time, I'm remembering, I was a very young boy, 10 years old. My father was a philosopher, and he was participating on one international forum with different interesting thinkers in that time. And I was remembering when he was speaking with Herbert Marcuse and Ernst Bloch and Erich Fromm. And they mentioned when I was 10 years that in the next 4 decades we'll be faced with 7 billion people living on the earth. They are not going to exist in that time, but I'm going to exist. But in that time we didn't have the technological capacities to produce food for 7 billion people. And they said, this young man, little Boris, your son, mentioning my father, is going to be faced with a real challenge, how to provide food for him, because we don't have such a capacities. And now we are asking ourselves whether we have a capacities to produce food, more secure, better environment, to be faced with the challenges of climate change is for 10 billion people. They have their needs, they have their fears, prejudices, stereotypes, everything what is characterizing the human beings. This is very important to be taken into the consideration also. Resources are limited. And we are specifically facing with some problems in agriculture because of phosphates that we cannot replace with something different. But we have a needs. Also, fossil and that kind of energy is going to be limited to be used. Maybe this is good news, but are we able to produce new energy system in the world which is sustainable regarding our knowledge and scientific researches nowadays? I hope so. We'll have improvement and continuation of improvement in that direction. In that context, I have to mention climate change. I'm coming from China, country which was facing with a huge problem of pollution. When I participated in an opening ceremony of Olympic Games, we couldn't see the sky. And that is exactly what happened in Beijing for many, many years. Nowadays, we see real improvement in China, and it is very important news for everyone, because China is a small factory of the world. And we are dependent on Chinese improvement in technological dimension, and this is very important. Inequality, new challenge. 42 people, the richest people in the world, are having more property than 3.7 billion people nowadays. 42 individuals are having more property than 3.7 billion people today on the earth. Is that sustainable? No. Is it bringing new tensions? For sure. Do we have any solution for such tensions? No. We have an increasing of tensions because of taxation policy, because of all other elements in economic policy and the legal field, which is providing better conditions for richest people than poorest people. I think this is one of the most sensitive and dangerous challenges we are facing with today. Digital technology. I'm talking frequently with the scientists and the people that are involved in the digitalization and software industry, and they are saying technology is going to take over many businesses, and technology can conquer not only businesses and economic fields and assets, but also some countries in the future. We have a very interesting researches in artificial intelligence, but at the same time, we are witness that so many things are going to be changed very fast. For example, the classic banks are not going to exist in the next 5 years. We'll be faced with the digital banks. What about money? What about transactions? And which kind of impact that kind of development is going to have for young generations? Okay, young people are more able to accommodate themselves than elderly, but what about oldest generations in that respect? And we see if banks are not going to exist anymore in the next 5 years, what about other economic institutions in that respect if we are going to have a totally digitalized world very soon? Social media. We mentioned yesterday, social media are extremely powerful right now, and they're penetrating everywhere. They are changing social atmosphere in all countries. Everyone make comment on everything, and as I said yesterday, even not very responsible people. But even not very responsible people can do a lot of wrong things in social dialogue, and this is very dangerous situation we are facing with. But we cannot dismantle social media. This is not possible. They are existing, and they are going to be even more powerful in the future. And finally, I have to underline once again, things are changing in global arena. United States are not going to be only superpower. Russia is trying to find a position which is going to be more proper for such important nuclear power. China is taking position that China deserved during the whole history of the mankind until the invention of James Watt. China is taking podium that China is deserving. We are facing with a lot of tension, especially in terms of transportation on the oceans. We see tension in South China Sea. Pacific is becoming even a bigger problem in the future, I'm totally sure, regarding new rising powers in that area, and we'll see final outcome of that kind of development. European Union is just in the crisis, and the European Union is not able even to select the people that are going to take over the institutions. And we see many problems European Union is facing, and European Union is even not able nowadays to define where are the borders of European Union. And this is a very dangerous situation. Such a big economic power is not able to define the borders of European Union. Macron is saying no enlargement, Angela Merkel is saying yes enlargement, and we see the discussion which is not very helpful nowadays. And people are facing with the stereotypes, with the fears, with the concerns, with the many, many problems. And the leadership of the global leadership is in the deep crisis. No one is trusting politics anymore. People are expecting totally different people to come to the power. We are witnessing situation in the many European Union countries, all democracies. Do you remember Italy elections? Not this, but last elections with Pepe Grillo, comedian who became very popular. My country was facing with that. Some comedian took the third position of presidential elections only 2 years ago. But this is something what we have. If we are allowing comedians to take over power in many different countries, maybe that is going to be very funny, but very dangerous. We see an actor who is right now president of Ukraine. Ukraine is a 40 million people country in between European Union and Russia. Dispute between NATO and Russia. Country with the crisis on Crimea. Country where we have a war nowadays. And we have people that are coming from the art to take over role of politicians. This is the world in which we are living. I am afraid that I'm not encouraging you by saying this, but I have to mention all those things. Now, I have to say that Africa, where we are right now, is, from my point of view, future of the world. Because population in Africa is the youngest in the world. And where people are living, that is exactly the place where future is going to be. And in Africa, we have a huge population, and estimations are that Africa is going to be a continent with the largest population in the world very soon. And in that respect, we have to have a focus on Africa. But we have a totally different focus. We have a focuses that are right now concerning everyone that I mentioned just a few seconds before. But we have to be really very focused on Africa issue because of huge potentials in terms of population, in terms of deposit of the natural minerals, because of so many important issues that are becoming strategically important for the future of the mankind, for the sustainability of our global policy. This is why I'm underlining the importance of Africa. And from that very serious strategical things I was underlining, I'm now coming down to the concrete issues we are facing with as the challenges every day. And let me mention once again the tragical event in our histories, because not many people in the international arena are able to understand that troubles are coming overnight. The war is coming overnight. The casualties are coming overnight. Sometimes this is totally unpredictable, but we have to be capable to understand that and to deal with such challenges. When my friend in Belgrade told me just before starting that war is going to come, I said, come on, this is not possible. He is Croat, I'm Serb. He was announcing to me that war is going to start very soon. I didn't believe that. And I'm sharing that experience with you. And I'm totally sure that not many people in Rwanda were aware that troubles are going to come that soon. And this is why I'm using these two examples for you, for all of you, to take this into the consideration seriously, specifically because we are living, globally thinking, in a very dangerous time of our common history. In that respect, small countries like Rwanda and former Yugoslavia, Serbia, Croatia, Bosnia, can bring many tragedies and many problems. And every single country is very important. Not only big powers, but small countries are very important. They have to be taken into the consideration very seriously. And whoever is ignoring problems like this is bringing problems in the future for all of us. And this is very important to be understandable for everyone. If I may say something regarding Africa and African future, and I'm going to the end of my speech with these 2-3 things that I consider very important. I think that union of the Eastern African countries is very important, and that is a good answer on global challenges. And I am always suggesting to the leaders all around the world to create such a formats that can defend the economy from some global powers, but also to create more sustainable solutions for their own countries. At the same time, I see potential of European Union, even though we are not very happy with the current situation in European Union, because European Union is even today soft power, very soft power. And the European Union can be helpful in terms of creating better environment for business, for development, protection of environment. And this is why I think that cooperation between such countries like Rwanda, Kenya, Uganda, with European Union can be extremely helpful for citizens of the people that are living in this country. Also, I see some perspective of cooperation between European Union and China in Central Asia. This is a very good initiative. After Silk Road as a Belt and Road initiative was announced in Kazakhstan a few years ago, we see new initiative that is coming from European Union, and this is very important strategically thinking because of importance of Central Asia, which is a soft stomach of global arena, traditionally speaking. And in that respect, every sensitive area has to be our focus. Africa, Eastern Africa, Central Asia, this is very important to have such development. I would like to see even better cooperation between India and China in the future. because that relations are very specific even nowadays, after crises that happened few years and many years ago. This is one suggestion that I'm going to point out here. And finally, let me say something about implementing peace in the countries that has been facing with such atrocities like Rwanda and my country, Serbia and the former Yugoslavia. My agenda was very simple. There is no possibility to implement peace without reconciliation process. Reconciliation process is not possible without apologies. To say, my apologies for what happened. Without apologies, there is no reconciliation process. Without reconciliation process, there is no possibility to implement sustainable peace. And this is why such techniques are necessarily in the countries with such horrible experience. And we have to help each other. And this process of reconciliation and a very simple gesture that are showing not only tolerance, but also respect for other entity, even for your opponents or enemies in the past, is crucially important regarding creating sustainable peace and stability in the region. That is what I would like to share with my friends from Rwanda, because of fully respecting what they have done and because of being here on this fantastic forum. Thank you for your attention and thank you for inviting me to deliver a speech.